All right, bet. So, let's go over today. So going into this morning, it was pretty simple what I wanted to see. Before market open, right? This is pretty much the chart that we're looking at. And I always do my surface level analysis, right? So if we do a surface level analysis off rip, are we bearish? Are we bullish? Answer is pretty simple. We are very bearish, right? We are very bearish. It almost looks like we're going to go down and flush these lows. Okay, so I did my surface level analysis. Price looks bearish. Cool. Now let me go on ES. Make sure that I feel the same way towards ES. Yep, ES looks bearish too. It looks like we want to go down to these lows. We have this 4-hour intermediate low right below over here. And we have same thing, 4-hour intermediate low on ES. So to me, it's just like pretty no-brainer, right? I'll create the scenario as this. I either get shorts down towards this 4-hour intermediate low, or I get longs from there, depending on what the market does at open, right? So I have scenario 1, continuation shorts down to that low. Scenario 2, longs, right? So then I'll mark out my scenario 1, which is market opens higher, hits that 15-minute gap, and then I get shorts. Or scenario 2, we go down to here and get some longs. Was this anyone else's scenarios for the day, out of curiosity? Okay, W. Let's fucking go. I love that. I love that. Right? So this type of thinking, bro, keeps shit very, very, very clear. But I will get into like how today also can get a bit confusing, and I was almost hesitant at first before entering anything. Needless to say, if you didn't take anything today, doesn't matter. Even if you took a loss but you still followed your rules, that's still a W. Yes, the session is recorded. There's not a set way to trade or anything, whatever. Obviously, like your system is you're applying the same principles that I use, but your system is still gonna be a bit different. So don't like compare or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Point is, if you followed your rules and you took what you wanted to see, that's a W in your book. So anyways, let's get into this. So I'm obviously waiting for market open from here, and market immediately opens higher, and we trade right into that 5-minute gap. Also, that 15-minute gap. So that's just going to be my condition, right? I'm going to go on the 15-minute chart here, and as long as this 15 minutes holding and I get a good structure to short, I'm willing to take continuation shorts from there. Okay? Very, very simple. Now, price starts trading higher. I'm not seeing anything yet. And one thing I started paying attention to is, okay, we are inside this 15-minute, but ES is also getting very close. Will I still be, like, would I still take a short? I'm not sure. I want to see something better. I know we've hit this 5-minute premium gap here too. We have this unfilled 5-minute below, so we are setting up the structure to short. But as far as entry goes right now, everything's still pretty scuffed. There's no entry right here. There's no entry on this 30-second either. I just don't love what I'm seeing here as far as structure yet, right? So that's the biggest thing we're lacking. Did anyone feels similar at this point? Like, that we're setting up the scenario, but the structure is still lacking. We don't have like a clear swing. Okay, awesome. I fucking love it. So obviously, after that, price ends up ripping higher, and literally there was no reason to end up getting cooked here because there was no entry. We didn't inverse the 30-second. We didn't inverse anything, so there was no reason to even take anything or fall for anything. And then once again, I pull up ES and I see, okay, fuck, I probably don't want to short no matter what unless ES manipulates into that 5 minutes. So then that becomes my main priority. So now look how I shift my focus. This is what I did at the time. I told myself ES is getting really close to hitting that 5 or 15-minute gap. Like, I really want to make sure I'm not taking anything until that happens. So I literally just stood on ES and I waited for ES to manipulate higher. Right there, and take that gap. Oh my God, sorry. And once ES hit this gap, I knew I was in the clear because I was getting super sussed out that we were just generating these highs near this high. And yeah, we did have an SMT there, so you could have just said, oh, well, we have an SMT, we're not going to go to there. But when I see that ES is getting this close and we're creating equal highs, it's no longer about, okay, whether we have an SMT or not. Now it's the fact that if I get stopped out because ES decides to hit that 5-minute gap and I ignore the fact that I was getting closer, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Was anybody else paying attention to ES and how close it was getting to manipulating into that gap as well? W. If you didn't, it's fine. It's fine. But like these are things that you want to pick up on, right? Because we still want to we don't always want to pattern trade these ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there is an SMT, but can you see ES also trading towards that level? Would it make you more comfortable, right? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself. So it's not even so much about like the SMT at this point, whatever. It's just a fact that if you were looking at ES and you notice that we literally created equal highs, whatever, we're trading right up to that point, would you be pissed if you got stop rated and didn't realize that ES was right there, one tick away? That's like a, I don't know, little things like that, right? They're important. So anyways, after that, I felt pretty good with the trade. Now, this is kind of interesting because now with all these factors in play, I could just take the 1 minute. But can anyone, I mean, like I said, everyone's going to trade differently depending on your conviction. My conviction was kind of weird today. Could you guess why I didn't just enter off of this 1 minute gap, despite it obviously being the best entry of the day? Structure, yeah. Structure is obviously like a very important factor here. But also, dude, I was kind of like sussed out. I'm like, what if I'm just getting caught up in some LR generation? You know, what if this isn't like truly the start of the reversal and we're just chopping up and this is going to continue creating LR? So that's like, I was like, fuck. Yes, I could get insane RR. I mean, dude, if my entry was here, holy shit. If my entry was here and I took it like this, yeah, I would have made an extra, I don't even know, maybe like $2,000. $3,000 could have been like a 10K day. But I told myself, what's going to give me the most amount of conviction in this trade? Well, I actually rather see not this 1 minute, but also a CISD on the 1 minute, which I don't like. Listen, I don't use CISDs like that. You could have just ripped this inverse and it would have been perfect. I want a double confirmation just to confirm. It wasn't even like a CISD thing for me. I just wanted to see price break out of this accumulation, so I had the peace of mind that we weren't just gonna end up fucking reversing from this point. And so eventually we did with this candle, and that was the displacement I wanted to see, right? So it's kind of also more about displacement. You guys know I love what's like the two fucking piece combo, structure and displacement. You have good structure and you have good displacement, dude, you're cooking every single time. Not every single time, but most of the time. And that's literally like this. I can't make shit up. I can't, like, genuinely, I've put so much emphasis on the combination between good structure and good displacement. And that is, and I give that like almost, that's like 90% of the reason I haven't lost in over 30 days or haven't had a losing day. I do have one losing trade actually in those 31 days or since I've last lost. Yeah, it's been 31 days or 32 days since I had a losing day. And it's because I've put so much emphasis on this. And so anyways, this just for me was a conviction thing. Would you have to wait for something like this too? No, if you had the conviction just from here, W. That's all you needed, right? Like I said, everyone's statistic is built differently. I wanted extra conviction. I was willing to sacrifice RR just to see if we would get better displacement, and that would make me feel better about the trade. And so then I guess you can also get into like maybe a conversation of discretion here if you're talking like, oh, but what about this 3 minute whatever. I think I ended up closing at the same time too though or something. But anyways, I feel super confident in the trade now. I was maybe paying attention to if price would want to go up towards this unfilled hourly gap. But that was another 60 points away, which isn't far. I just had all the confluences already that I wanted to see originally going into shorts for the morning. But now that we've had more structure created throughout the session, and I didn't just get a short from here, like we didn't just end up rejecting this 15-minute right here and end up trading lower, and then this being like the low, and then this being my final TP. Now there's a few other things I have to pay attention to. I have to pay attention to the new structure price created. So normally I was just gonna go for like a basic 101 here, but I did have a lot of conviction that we would go down to this low. Now I know a lot of you guys were expecting the flush through. I actually got kind of lucky with that last TP, and I'll explain what happened there. Pretty much I entered here. I was going to do a basic take partials 1-1 and then hold down to the low. And so once I got right here or somewhere around here, it was my 1-1. I remember it was 50 something. Yeah, so once I got to right here, or here, I took half my position out, and I only took 2 cons out of the 5 that I was in. I was in 5 minis. I took 2 minis out, and then I had 3 minis going. And I was paying attention to ES here, and I saw the ES hit this 5-minute. So once I saw that, I was like, "Ah, shit, that's kind of scary." So I ended up taking another one out, and now I only had 2 minis running. And I wanted to see the flush all the way down to the low, obviously. But once, what was it right here? I was like, yeah, once ES reswept that 5-minute low, I'm not gonna lie, I got a bit sussed out. And then with this little resweep right here in the bottom, I was just like, honestly, anywhere I would have closed right here, I was gonna close a trade anywhere around here. It just happened to be a coincidence that I practically bottom tick the close at this candle. So it's not that I just like happen to close not expecting like on purpose right next to this low, and everyone's like, what the fuck, why don't you just hold it? Like, I was gonna close anywhere here, but by the time I had noticed that 5-minute intermediate low and whatever got swept on ES and we were still holding the 5-minute, it just happened to be like the perfect spot to close. So yeah, a little bit of luck there. I ended up getting like an extra like, you know, $1,000 maybe from that fact. But I was just gonna end up full closing the position entirely for probably 1 to 1.3. So that's the explanation behind that final close there. Definitely a little bit of luck involved. But yeah, a little resweep right here plus that resweep on ES on the 5-minute. I just said, fuck it, dude. Let's not be greedy. And so at that point, it's just like, because it creates this whole new like condition pretty much where this is like unknown territory. I don't know if we're going to hold this or inverse it. So when it comes to like that, that's like, I feel my emotions kicking in, right? Now I'm on the trade on NQ and I'm like, oh fuck, but what if ES holds this? Oh, should I just hold through this 5-minute? You know, now we've reset the low. And when I start asking myself too many questions, I'm better off just closing the trade. So I'm not like, you know, I'm not like frantic about it. But does that make sense to everyone? That kind of like a interesting situation there at the end. But that was pretty much what was going through my head. And yeah, so obviously very mechanical at first, very mechanical approach. Looked for a lot of confirmation through that entry specifically, just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting stuck in like some LR generation. And then, you know, it was just my scenario 1 continuation from this 15-minute, and we were holding that 15-minute the entire time. And I really like that we even reswept that high. Also, I'd hit that premium 5-minute. Damn, I'm cold as fuck. Let me get a sweater real quick. But yeah, I'll go over some other shit real quick. I know some of you mentioned like a 2-minute trade or something. Yeah, and then someone said like a 2-minute trade at 10:22. So I'm guessing this is like a pullback into a 5-minute. Yeah, pullback into 5-minute here with those equal lows pretty much. Little 2-minute inverse there. Yeah, I mean mechanically that looks like a fucking phenomenal trade. But this is exactly what I mean, right? So like notice how here what's the key factor, guys, that we're missing here in this 2-minute trade? What's the key factor here? Yes. 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 Let's fucking go. So this is what I mean, bro. We're lacking displacement here. And this is the exact same thing I was talking. This is what I was scared about in the first trade, right? When I see this LR generation and I'm catching one of these inverses in the middle of the LR, a lot of the times they're like fake outs pretty much. Like they're not actual inverses because it's not like a actual invalidation of that gap. It's more so like price is just trending up and it's just chopping around. And obviously, the more you zoom in, you'll probably find an inverse. But that's what I was worried about in the first trade. So I wanted to see that extra confirmation. So in cases like this is actually a perfect example because in cases like this where you're not too sure if you're getting caught up in this LR or if it's like a valid inverse, you should be willing to sacrifice a little bit of RR and just to see a stronger close through here, and then be like, okay, well now we've closed down here, let me rip it from here. But as far as like mechanically, and if we're just going off the facts, the trade was good. You had everything in line pretty much for a second round continuation short off that 5 minute. Beautiful, obviously liquidity here down here, and then we still had that 4 hour intermediate low. Like I can't say this was a stupid trade. It was a fucking great trade. But these are like little things that I have noticed, which is what I'm telling you has skyrocketed my win rate. Like literally changed so fucking much. That emphasis on structure and displacement, and you can definitely see here too where like the structure is pretty choppy, displacement isn't the best, but if we're talking about everything else around it, amazing. But why did it probably fail? Lack of structure and displacement. So just something to pay attention to. However, still factually and like mechanically and breaking down each of the confluences here, great trade. But yeah, something to consider for those of you who took that. And then I heard some people took a long, which if you played the long because you saw the 5 minute holding on ES, okay, interesting. But honestly, you have to be prepared for a stop right here. Like if you're longing here and you know that you practically just created like equal lows right here and we get close to this draw, like you can't be upset if you get stop rated there and that shit runs lower. I don't really like the idea of longs there, to be honest. That's not something I can totally get behind. This short I can absolutely get behind. Like I totally see the reasoning, but this long is a bit of a stretch. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that. I don't know what the market's doing right now. I don't know if we're going up towards this gap up here. Let me just see what's going on. Yeah, so it looks like we're chopping, which is expected, right? On Monday, you do want to catch that initial volatility, usually before 10 a.m. and be able to capitalize on like that market open volatility, because as it gets a bit later into Monday sessions, it gets pretty shitty, pretty choppy. We had about 100 point displacement, or 170, which isn't like a lot, but definitely enough to create some chop after. Something to pay attention to as well. So there's a couple factors to the whole one trade a day thing, and the whole like also something that has skyrocketed my win rate. Like we can talk about this, the whole like patty swing thing and everything. A lot of people criticize me at first when the majority of my trades were happening nearly right after 9:30. People like thought that, okay, well they should wait an hour for market to create more structure and bullshit and whatever. But you're missing one of the most volatile moments of the market. And volatile doesn't mean that it's going to stop you out faster or like it's more unpredictable. Volatility is going to work in your favor because it's going to provide that momentum, especially with inverses where it's like a flip and a switch in order flow. And it's going to give you that displacement. So you shouldn't be scared of volatility. I know a lot of people, I mean, when you're first starting to trade the model, I get it. Like it can seem intimidating taking trades, before 10 a.m. and stuff, but it's going to work in your favor. So that's something to pay attention to. I think 90% of the trades I took, or 90 is a bit of a stretch, but I'd say like 70 to 80% of the trades I've taken have been before 10 a.m. Obviously, if I get what I want. So yeah, that's also something to pay attention to. And usually what happens is the whole one trade a day thing too. It's just the fact that let's say you did get break even on this or something and now you're looking for something. Market, if one trade plays out, that means an objective has been met and the market has displaced. And after displaces, another word for that is distributes towards a direction or towards a key level, what's most likely going to happen after distribution? Some sort of accumulation. So that's always something you want to be paying attention to as well. It's it's not, I'm not like saying a bunch of shit to you like it drives you crazy and you're going to like analysis paralysis, but if you ever hesitate on one setup that you liked, this is mainly what it applies for. Like if you like this setup and then you hit the hesi on it and now you're taking this second round continuation, you're more than likely going to catch slower delivery, potential accumulation, shit like that. So yeah, I mean, if you think that one of your problems is like hesitation or like lack of confidence in those like first setups and whatever, that's something you should try to work on. And I always tell people that the best way to get like better at shit like this is literally playing like the other extremes. So if you're like someone who's very hesitant, practice being overconfident. And I know it sounds stupid, but it works because then you learn to find the balance between things. It's the same way that like when you get your first payout, because you locked the fuck in and you were like on some literal monk shit and doing everything perfectly, and then right after your first payout, you go ahead and you throw all your habits out the window and you start shitting the bed, and now you can't get a payout for a minute, and you're like, okay, what the fuck am I doing? I need to find that happy medium. That's what it's all about. Like the whole point of trading is to go through like all these trial and errors and then discover this like golden medium where you operate super efficiently, and even like that never stops. Like I'm still finding that for myself every single fucking day. You know what I'm saying? I'm still figuring out what's a trade frequency that I like and is best for my psychology. What is the time window that I feel most confident in my trades? What is whatever the type of structure, the type of displacement? Like you're always learning about yourself, but the only way to learn like consistently about yourself and your trading style and what works for you is by following one set system. Like everything that I've learned has been off of this one system. So you have to just master this one system, and then of course you make the machine better and better. But yeah. Took the woman FEG short at 949, stepped out the internal high, and yes, stepped into bear short spinning gap, which I was waiting for. I thought we tapped into, but we edged it. Then it'll give me confirmation. You want to go lower? John Cody was unfilled 5-minute back. Yep. Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's not like one way to journal. I know like a lot of you guys want to like send me a picture of that you took the same trade or whatever. Like the point is, if this was within your system, if this is what you wanted to see, if you created the scenario and you executed it, that is the biggest W ever. Last call I did, which was yesterday, we did some group back testing, and I did realize that a lot of you weren't creating these scenarios. You know, I've had people come up before though in group back testing and everyone's creating scenarios, but then there's also like a chunk of you that you guys aren't creating these scenarios. I don't think you understand how important it is to like do this. And I don't know if maybe it's just like my insanely ADHD brain, bro, where like I'm always just like imagining shit happen. Like I've said this before, like even if I'm like at a movie theater or something, I'm like, yo, what if someone like walks in with like a sniper right now? Or like what if someone's like whatever, like what the fuck would I do? I'm always like kind of just thinking paranoid shit like that. So I'm kind of like the same way with trading, where I've just already imagined like 40 different setups before they've happened. But obviously I've trained myself to like really only focus on two. Like what are the two best scenarios? So you should get in the habit of doing the same thing, because that's what's gotten rid of my hesitation completely. And it's helped everyone that has, you know, started using that. Did you not care about 10 a.m. news? No, I don't really care about 10 a.m. news unless it's like, I don't know, like CPI or some shit. Which doesn't even come out at fucking 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. news I really don't give a fuck about. Doesn't really make that much of a difference in the trade, to say the least. Especially some weak ass shit like this. But yeah, obviously if I'm going into like, let's say it's like 9:55 and I still haven't entered my trade, well, now I'm obviously going to be paying attention to the fact that, okay, it's 5 minutes before 10 a.m. open, but it's more so like the hourly candle, not so much the news. Unless it's like some really crazy news, bro, like I'm not really tripping out. So no, I honestly haven't checked Forex Factory in who the fuck knows how long. I haven't checked Forex Factory in probably like like 4 months. So yeah, I mean, most like the important news is like when Powell speaks or CPI, but I don't trade 8:30 CPI because I'm not fucking full porting funded, and I don't trade Powell speaking because I don't trade 2 p.m. So the only thing I ever care about is if there's a bank holiday or some shit, and it's just an excuse for me to not look at the charts and do like a little mental reset, which is also something that I've like found to be so helpful. It's like just like sticking to your word builds so much discipline. Like if you have some shit to do for the day, or like you rather go do something else instead of trade, and you're actually able to go do that task without then chronically getting on the charts on your phone and like forcing a trade, that should build so much discipline. And that was my problem for a long time, where every time I would travel, I couldn't even enjoy traveling, or I couldn't enjoy playing golf with my dad, or I couldn't enjoy doing shit because I know I could still take out my phone and try to take a trade, but then I would just catch really stupid losses because I wouldn't be focused and I'd be forcing stuff. And then obviously, like, I've changed that. That was like a really bad habit I had, and I changed that in the last like literally month and a half. And I've told myself, like, dude, if you got shit to do, bro, if like, you know, you're getting on a plane, or if you're gonna be tired, like literally, like if you're gonna be like tired on a plane, if you're gonna be half-assing it, if you're not gonna be like being able to paying attention, then just don't even look at the fucking charts. And I definitely feel like that saved me a lot of like, I don't know, it's probably preserved a lot more capital than I think. So it's just shit like that, bro. There's so much to the game of trading. And you know, I can obviously say like 1,000 things, but like I said, it all starts with just like following your system, because it's the only way to learn about yourself. Is how you perform, or like your capabilities of following one system disciplined. So it looks like majority actually took no trades, which is pretty valid. Some of you had a break even, and then around 30% took a loss today. If you took a loss, I'm assuming it was that 5 minute. For those of you who took a loss, was it that second round continuation? Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I know, Captain, you took that earlier counter trend trade. Did you guys understand my explanation with that second round continuation trade? Like I said, it was actually, like factually, it was a great trade, but the whole structure and displacement thing adds so much to it. All right, W. Sounds like everyone's on the same page. Do you be using PO3, stacking PO3, like in the sense of like AMD, whatever? I mean, bro, like the PDI model is pretty much just revolves around like PO3, but in a really like micro way, in the sense that I like to see pre-market accumulation, obviously, and then catch like those patty swings in relation to that, where the liquidity is being generated. Today there wasn't too much of that application because pre-market actually was moving quite a bit, but I did notice that we did have this stacked LR below, whatever, and I thought price was going to displace down there for the day. Today's not a good example, but obviously going into most mornings, I love to look for, are we generating, like, how to explain this? I like to look for, if this is the 8:30 window, like 8:30 to 9:30 window, I try to see, okay, did we generate a lot of liquidity above, or did we generate a lot of liquidity below, right? So I try to analyze that pre-market structure, because that is usually like what I would consider like the accumulation point, because then once 9:30 opens up, right? So let's say we're in this scenario where we see that the structure is above us, then I'm gonna feel more conviction going into that trading session. If I see price manipulate lower at open, tap some sort of key level, obviously, and then catch the trade in that direction. So I try to look for that 9:30 open lower in this case, and you know, hit like a hourly gap or a 15-minute or whatever. So you get the point, but that's really the way I use it. But yeah, I'm averaging high win rate in backtesting, but I feel like it doesn't translate to the live market. I've been on my funder for the past 2 weeks, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm just getting the wrong side of statistic. Okay, well, like as far as data goes, your backtesting is a good representation of what your statistics would look like if you were super fucking disciplined, if you were very locked in. There's no emotional aspect involved in backtesting, so it's very expected that you're going to perform better backtesting than you are in live markets, because live markets a whole different game, bro. It's like going from paper trading to like actually risking your own capital. There's a whole new psychology to it. It's the same way, bro, when I switched from like trading a bunch of funded to just my live account. Like there's a whole nother roadblock that you have to fucking pass now. So wait, did he die? But yeah, bro, it's like it takes time. Backtesting is literally only good for just having that reassurance that it works. But once you're in live markets, that's a whole new journey. It's a whole new learning curve. I don't have like a daily bias, but yeah, technically today I was pretty firm on like continuation shorts, but I mean, I just play whatever the most recent key level we're bouncing off of is in the market. With group back shot. Let's see. I'll go over all this in a second. Why's my brother calling me? One sec. Yeah, I went over that. Was shorting out to we had a 300% limit. Would have been okay? I went over that as well. I work in London, so the market opens while I'm at work. I get to work from home 2 days a week to find when I'm by myself. I can trade so much better rather than when I'm at work and worry about getting in trouble. I find most of my losses come from me trading at work because I feel rushed, and when I look back, I've probably missed something. I've started to trade PM on the days I have to go into London, but find I have huge FOMO from seeing everyone in AM print, knowing I would have taken it, but couldn't because of work. Any tips to help? Yeah, but you're only thinking that way because that's what you're seeing. Majority of people are trading New York session. But like, imagine you were only on a side of social media where you could only see people trading PM session. You would still see the same bullshit, right? People are gonna post their wins. People are gonna talk about their wins. You're always gonna be like, you know, that information will always be like kind of forced on you, which is why I say it doesn't matter. Like, don't compare. Who cares? Your statistic is gonna be built on PM session, and if you only trade PM session, then it'll still be an incredible statistic. Like, it'll be the same fucking shit. You still gotta wait for those same confluences though, and it's that same thing. But you can't trade multiple sessions, and like it's a perfect example. Even when you trade New York session, like in your head, New York session's a better time to trade, but you can't because psychologically there's too much going on and you can't focus. So it's not the best session for you to trade, right? So there's always a trade-off. But yeah, bro, you can still build the same statistic on PM session. Like, who cares if you're not trading fucking New York? You know what I mean? There's no such thing as like missing out in trading. The market moves every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? You can take a month break from trading. It doesn't change shit. I didn't take the 1 minute inverse for CSU because we were close to the 1 hour unmitigated. Yeah, it was 50 points away, but sometimes you can use it. Yeah, no, I agree with this completely. Yeah, but I see that completely, bro. And I was feeling the same way. I was kind of, that's why I was saying I was skeptical originally of that first trade I took, because I'm like, okay, well, we are close to that unfilled hourly gap above, which is why I wanted that extra confirmation. So hopefully that extra confirmation made sense too. That was kind of like a bit discretionary there, but that gave me more conviction that, okay, we're going to break through that LR and we're at least going to go down to the 5 minute. And yeah, no, but you're not wrong. Totally something to pay attention to. Yeah. That's what happens, man. Yeah, not the conditions for lower time frame entries. Anytime you're taking like a 15-second trade or something like that, it needs to be very like clean structure. It has to look like something like this, like literally something like this, where it's quite literally like one candle. Oh my. Nah, yeah, you folded. You folded. That was a pretty sniper entry too. You live and learn, dude. You live and learn. Been putting my stops at the swing high lows like you told me, and increase my trading win rate and volatility. Thanks. Fuck yeah, bro. I love to hear that. You always got to give your trade room to breathe. It's the most important thing. No. Today I just traded all the trades. Yeah, we're close to that 1 hour. And LAR, same thing. Yeah. There you go. I mean, I can't say you read it wrong or anything. Like, totally valid. Totally valid. I had the same bias and everything, but I faded the 1 minute because we were so close at 1 minute and still didn't hit 50 minute on ES. I wasn't confident where to take the entry, and being the 1 minute was not valid anymore. I thought about taking the 50-second, but I didn't. I was super happy about that fade and got stopped out on the 2 minute short. Listen, bro, it happens. You didn't care about the rejection wick on the 1 hour, 4 hour? No. No. I didn't care. Yeah. No, but it's fine, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. It's really easy to get hyper fixated on things like that. Like I totally see myself taking this trade too, like this 2 minute if I miss this first one. Um like I can see myself so taking that too. And it's just one of those trades that like if you traded long enough this model and whatever, you realize that this is what almost all the losses look like. It's when you're like catching this type of chop entry. What? Bro, throw in my P&L there. I'll balance it out. I've passed fundings and got 2 payouts, but backtesting I never reached a 60% win rate because I don't know why I perform better forward testing. To be honest, bro, I'm not the best backtester either. Like, I mean, like I have a fucking higher win rate in live markets. Backtesting to me is just too boring. I was absolutely really bored at backtest. You were not worried about the LR above leading to the unfilled 1 hour. Yeah, so it was something I was paying attention to, but once I saw that 15-minute intermediate high sweep and we were just holding it, I had to play it off the facts there. Honestly, just had to play it off the facts, but it was definitely something I was paying attention to. And ES was in such a good spot to distribute lower. SMT I previously low, 1 hour internal low. That's not something I pay attention to. Like I said, like you can't focus on too many things at once because it just fries your brain. But I don't look at the daily chart, to be honest. I don't look at the daily chart at all. Like, so occasionally I'll pull up the daily chart, but honestly, very, very rarely. Just because to me, I can't really validate how the daily chart could influence my trades when the average trade time is fucking 5 minutes, 10 minutes for my trades. Like, I can't reason how the daily chart would have a strong impact. I like the 1 hour and 4 hour. To me, it's perfect. But to each their own. The daily chart does work. You just have to really align those time frames. I feel like I've been pretty consistent mentally, emotionally trading, and I'm currently 3 losses in a row. I don't think the trades were bad, but I'm definitely still improving. Any tips for a loss streak and to still take quality trades? Yeah, I mean, 3 losing trades in a row is honestly not that serious. And as long as you can stick to the system and keep doing what you're doing, like, you're going to look back at those 3 losses and think it was like the stupidest shit ever once you're 20 trades in and you're like, okay, well, I've now won, 14, 15 times and lost 5 times. Like, it balances out. I've had, 3 losses in a row so many fucking times. I've had up to like 7 losses in a row. So, don't be demoralized, bro. If like you're really just doing everything you can, it definitely does like hurt the ego a bit when you're getting smacked around, but you just have to push through shit like that. It's more like just like annoying than it is like anything else. Just like, bro, like, are we serious? Um, but yeah, dude, it sounds like you've been, like you said, you're consistent mentally, emotionally, and you're following a system. That's all that matters. I went over this, but yeah, the biggest thing was the lack of structure and displacement. There is an easy way to get stop rated when you get caught on like some LR generation. Yeah, 1-on-1 is perfect in this situation. You're never gonna go wrong taking the low hanging fruit. Yeah, I tell everybody, bro. It's one of the first things I say. You should never be charting or looking at anything on micro charts, like ever. You should always be looking at NQ and ES until the time of entry comes around. I've told people this 1,000 times, bro. 1,000 times. Yeah, yeah, bro. Fuck it. If you're bored of backtesting, you're not gonna gain anything from it. Um, Literally just spend more time in the live markets, bro. If it's paper trading or just with fundeds, like, you know what I mean. That's where everything's gonna really click. Rate, please. 3-minute chart long. 3-minute chart long. Oh, this wasn't this like pre-market? Oh, I guess you technically smacked it at like 9:30. Is that here? Yeah, I mean, the thing about this, bro, is that we weren't bouncing off any hourly gap, so I really didn't like it considering how bearish we were looking and how close we were to the strong liquidity. It's just like, what's your key level there? You're inside all this LR, and I'm not one to say like a trade is bad or whatever. Um, unless you're playing it off the previous day of low sweep, which it looks like some people were. Oh, but that's the previous day of low everyone's talking about. That shit's far. Shit is down here. Shit down here. But yeah, I mean, I just don't like if we're not bouncing off any hourly gaps or anything like that. So not necessarily my favorite as far as key level goes for a counter trend trade like this. I think it's just smarter to take the short there. But as far as structure goes and displacement, this is what you want to see for any sort of trade. This structure and displacement is very clean. Just very important that you have a key level that you're bouncing off of. If not, you're kind of just hoping that your draw is right. Would you consider these two losses statistical losses or avoidable losses? Yeah, both of these could have definitely been avoidable. One is definitely more statistical. Like, I think the 2 minute that everyone took wasn't bad. I went over this earlier in the call talking about the importance of structure and displacement and how you can avoid getting caught up in LR generation. So, oh my, it's exactly what I was saying, bro. Like, this is literally what I was fearing would happen with this first trade, which is why I waited for that extra confirmation lower and was willing to sacrifice a bit of RR, and I just waited for like that breakout through this, despite the inverse being up here. And it's just because I've seen this shit happen way too many times. Like inverses within chop on the 1 minute chart. It's just an easy way to get stopped out. But the second one was definitely more statistical. But I think like especially if you took this first one and you got cooked on it, like no reason to take the second setup and then expect it to play out, you know? So I think in your case, you definitely could have avoided at least one of those trades. Good shit, Captain. Nah, I was more focused on the displacement, and I was like, why would we reject the 4 minute without going to the 5 minute? Just seemed unrealistic. Is it different for me to take continuation trades using only sponsored 5-15 minute gaps by a higher time frame level, or is it still good to take trades using 5? Yeah, I don't pay attention to the whole sponsored thing. Like I know Ronan mentions like he only takes them if they're bouncing off an hourly gap or something. But that's not the case for me ever. That's not really something I've ever paid attention to. I'm kind of just focusing on the facts, and the fact is that we were bearish as fuck. We were rejecting the 50-minute gap, and we had a draw on liquidity lower, and I'm just going to take the facts as they are. My only issues I have with waiting for displacement is that I'm not confident in a target beyond 101, so I start freaking out thinking it might reverse from that point. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but you getting displacement or waiting for displacement is going to be in your favor for the trade actually delivering past that, like, and getting that right RR. I will, brother. And so far I have 1 win, 3 losses. I only have 1.1k left. Should I just de-risk until I get positive, or should I take the trades again? I haven't felt myself wanting to run trade like I would, which is good, but should I only risk 250 or continue risking? Nah, continue risking 500. There's like, you have to know what the statistic comes out to with one set risk. Like, think about it, bro. If you continue risking 500 and you win your next trade, bang, now you're only down 500. Then again, now you're back at break even. But if you do 250, like, you're just impairing the statistic, right? Because then if you win the next trade, but you de-risk now and you only made 250, you're still down 750, and now you're taking, it needs 4 trades to get back. So yeah, I think I read that already, that your backtesting is worse than in live trading. Yeah, so fuck it, bro. I mean, backtesting is only important for reassurance, but we already did the backtesting for you guys. We got the numbers, we have the data. Like, if you trust Blake and I, then I don't know how much you really need a backtest, because backtesting is just so you can see that you're able to generate that win rate that we always talk about on your own. But it's more important that you're able to do it on the live markets, and that's a whole different thing. Like, you need to trade on the live markets to build that statistic. Doesn't matter how good you are at backtesting. Patty, is 1 trade a day something mandatory you do? Mandatory? I'd be a hypocrite if I said it was mandatory, but for 90% of my trades, 90% of my trading days, it's 1 trade a day. So yeah, just depends, you know. If there's a day where I'm like, I get break even, but setup still looks so good and I'm getting the same thing, I'll try it again. It's not that often, you know, but definitely exists. Those days definitely exist. How do you use SMTs? I avoided them and backtesting still was profitable. I want to start using them. Use lower time frame like minutes charts. Like I wouldn't want to enter a trade unless both NQ and yes. That's fine. That's perfectly reasonable. I really only pay attention to SMTs once, like the main time I pay attention to is once I'm in a trade. Just make sure that, you know, once I'm like displacing towards TP, like did ES take my target, and is that like, you know, so should I be break even? Is ES inside a 5 or 15-minute gap that could potentially make my trade react, whatever. So I really only care about SMTs mainly when I'm in a trade. But also to see if we're bouncing off a key level. Like same way I was paying attention at first that we had hit this 15-minute and I didn't need ES to hit it as well, but I do like when both pairs are there. But like another example would be, let's say on this hourly chart here, if ES like traded up to this hourly gap up there and NQ was lagging behind, right, or vice versa, then that's also something I'd pay attention to. Now I know that like at least one of the pairs hit that gap, so I could take a counter trend trade. I could take a short. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but you do have to also be realistic and understand the fact that prop firms benefit from people who like spend too much time on them and shit like that, because if you're on 0.5% risk, chances are it's going to take you, like, even if you do everything right, like 2 weeks to pass an account, and that's with everything going well. If everything's going kind of break even, you're just going to get rebuild every single month. So there is like an aspect of, okay, the system is already gamified enough, you kind of have to play the game a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, you don't have to full port, but I wouldn't do like 0.5% risk. It's just gonna take a minute. Yeah, because it doesn't move the same as actual charts. Like micro is just like another like estimated version of like the mini, like the minis, or sorry, you know, like eFuture minis. Fucking NQ is gonna be the actual representation of how the future chart moves, while micros is just like a, I don't know, another version of it that for some reason isn't the exact same. Don't ask me. I didn't fucking make that shit. I'm not the nerd on all the back end for the fucking markets. Yeah, I mean, whatever you do, bro, just do one of it. Like, whatever strategy you want to trade, just only trade that one strategy. You can't be switching between two. Can you give me some extra rules I follow to avoid statistical losses? No, you want statistical losses. I'm guessing you mean like non-statistical losses. Um, yeah, I mean, bro, like at the end of the day, statistical losses, it's not going to look the same for me as it's going to for you, because your statistic is going to be completely different, and so is your conviction. But anything, for example, bro, I'm just going to tell you the biggest things that has helped me, and I was talking about this earlier, but it's like the gut feeling thing. If I go into the market and I can't create scenarios, I can't determine a draw on liquidity, I don't know what I want to see at market open, and I don't like the market structure, and you get that gut feeling where like, oh shit, this might be a shit day, get off. That's usually when you take an unnecessary loss. Another example, lack of structure and displacement, right? Those are some factors that are more like discretionary, because they're kind of like, those are things you have to eyeball, right? Structure and displacement isn't as like factual. It's more on the subjective side of things, because you know, good structure for someone could be bad structure for another person. So you have to really start understanding what good structure looks like on the trades that play out. Like, try to engrave that in your brain. Those trades that really displace well and all that shit. What does that structure look like? What does that inverse look like? Well, how does that displacement look? Is it like a strong displacing candle? Things like that are stuff I started paying attention to more, that made me realize that helps the trades play out. Right? What else? Trading within the right windows. Um, you know, I personally love trading before 10 a.m. But I also will take a trade after 10 a.m. But I don't like getting to the point where it's like 10:45 or 10:50, because I know delivery's slower, right? We're getting shittier candles here, and this is a perfect example. Look at the average candle size in 9:30 to whatever. These are 50-point candles, 30-point candles, 20-point candles, 30-point candles, 50-point candles, right? So here you have an average of about 35-point candles, while after 10 a.m. you're looking more now at 16-point candles. You have like maybe one big one that's like 30, but then you go back down to here, and this is all like 20 points, 10 points, 15 points, 10 points, 20 points. And so now here you're getting an average of like 15, 20-point candles, and you don't have that strong delivery. And you want that strong displacement and delivery because it's going to work in your favor, and you're also lacking more structure here. So that's the thing, right? As the market moves, and this is honestly, this is just gonna like, I'm kind of just sounding crazy here because this is all anecdotal, but this is like the shit that I've realized, and this is like what helps me with my conviction. I realize that as the market moves, the more I have to pay attention to what has happened, obviously since 9:30. But if I'm catching trades usually between 9:30 to 10 a.m., I already have structure to work with, and so it feels more like like more ready. I don't know how to explain it. But obviously now, like if you're going into this, there's more like 10:30. There's more to pay attention to because now you're thinking of this structure that got created here, this 5-minute that we're bouncing off of. But we also created these equal lows down here, and we also have this unfilled hourly gap above, whatever. And it's like, fuck, what are we gonna go to? So I feel like for me, and this is just my statistic and my way of trading and the way I view things start feeling they feel less like, not like punctual or anything, but they feel I don't know. Almost everything just feels like more unreliable the later I get into a session. So that's also something that has helped me just take the right losses that are within like this section. What else? What else? Yeah, another thing is if I have to like ask myself a bunch of questions when I'm about to enter a trade, like, oh, do I really like this? Is that close good? Should I wait for this inverse, or should I take this candle, or should I do this, or should I do this, or should I do this? Anytime I spend more than 15, 20 seconds, I would say like 30 seconds determining if a trade is good, especially more than 30 seconds. Like if I'm spending more than a minute asking myself questions if whether or not I like it, I end up just telling myself I don't even deserve to be in this trade. Like I don't deserve to take this trade. Like I clearly don't love it. I clearly don't feel that much conviction for it because I'm trying so hard to justify that it's good. So I don't know what that looks like for you, but I know what it looks like for me. When I start asking myself too many questions and I'm like driving myself crazy, I'm like, okay, Patty, just scrap it, bro. Just scrap it. Like, whatever. If the trade plays out, it plays out, but you ask yourself too many fucking questions. So clearly it's not exactly what you wanted to see. So it's little shit like that, bro. It's really just shit like that. And yeah, dude, like I said, it's also just trial and error, bro. Like I've gone through the fucking shitter 1,000 times. You know what I mean? When I first got this live account 3 months ago, I fucking printed the first week or 2 weeks. I was up like 30 G's nearly in the first like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then I rinsed it. Almost all the money I made, I rinsed it in like 3 days on a trip in California because I was trading half asleep, doing stupid shit, whatever. And then I got like impatient, and I'm like, bro, that's so fucking pathetic that even at this point I can still make a mistake as stupid as that. But you know, it takes shit like that. It takes experiences like that to then remember like this type of shit you got to do. And then I have a fucking month where I don't have a single losing day. And now I'm going into this month with that same mindset. And then you become bulletproof, bro. It's about like bulletproofing that psychology. Like imagine me in the position like that I'm in now, bro. I just had such a good month, like where my trade frequency was so low. You know, I made a great amount of money. It wasn't like an insane amount, but I did good. It was like 36K, whatever, nothing insane. I was risking half the size that I was before. You know, the month before I was taking 10K trades like on average. This time I decided to go anywhere between like 4 to 5K. So naturally my profits weren't going to be insane, but it wasn't about the profits and it wasn't about the P&L this time. It was just literally about me proving that I can really fucking do it well, and all that. And I did. And now it's like, okay, Now I've had an amazing month. I have this insane momentum going on. I have such a clean statistic that I'm building up. On my fucking TradeZella, whatever, it says I have an 80% win rate, or some shit like that. And, it's like, I need to keep this up. Now I've built such a strong foundation where in my head, I've like, I can't let myself break that. You know what I mean? I have to stick to my system because my system looks so good now. Like, I love what I'm seeing. Um, so you got to get to that same point where you've kind of really just fucking lock in, bro. Force yourself. Discipline, like motivation and all that shit is bullshit, bro. Discipline is force. Like you have to force yourself to follow the fucking system, and then it becomes human nature. It becomes fucking just like you don't have to think about it. Um, so yeah, like it's gonna suck at first because you have to override all your bad habits. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to be self-aware, and you have to make changes. That's just how it goes, bro. That's just how it fucking goes. This shit isn't easy, and I say this every single call, But if it was easy, then it wouldn't be rewarding. That is the shit you guys signed up for. That is the shit that we all signed up for. Um, so yeah, bro. Like it's gonna take sacrifices. Those of you who have shit sight going on, like just look at yourself in the fucking mirror and be like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And it's not necessarily what am I doing wrong. It's the question you should be asking yourself is, why haven't I changed? Why am I so fucking weak mentally to the point where I can't get myself to change? I wonder why I'm over trading. How do I fix it? You stop over trading. Why am I hesitating? You stop fucking hesitating. You know the answers to all your problems, but sometimes you kind of just want someone to slap you in the face and be like, dude, wake the fuck up. Um, and that's probably the case with most of you guys. And like genuinely, you need to burn some bridges. You need to do some shit. You need to back yourself up against a wall where you have no choice but to make some shit work. This doesn't even go just with trading, bro. There's probably a lot of shit in your life that you need to take care of too. Whether you have toxic fucking friends, relationships, some shit that's fucking up your psyche, whatever. If your room looks like a fucking mess every day. Like there's just so many factors to this game because when you're trying to master a skill that's you versus you, you need to be at peak performance. You need to be a version of yourself that is so ideal. And I've spoken about this before, and I've gotten like a few comments like on social media of people like, oh, that's not true. Most people I know, most traders and people I know that make a ton of money are fucking like crash out degenerates. Okay, cool. Maybe there are some exceptions, bro, of like people that have their life is such a fucking mess and they make this work. But for the majority of us, I truly believe like there is a lot of sacrifice and a lot that goes into it, and being super fucking locked in. Um, and you gotta find what gives you peace of mind and shit like that, and what keeps you in good routine and keeps you in like having those good habits. Um, so yeah, you like, bro, it's you're gonna realize the more you trade, it almost doesn't even become about trading at one point. Like you're just learning so much about yourself, and it's gonna help you with every aspect of life if you really make those changes. Um, and yeah, it's not fucking easy, but you need to go through all that shit. You need to go through all that shit. Yeah, that's the worst cycle to be in. That is the worst cycle to be in until you become. And I'll tell you something, bro. Like I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because a a characteristic that I've built over the last 2 years or something is, and this was a kind of like, it applies to trading too. Like trading, it's more so the biggest thing was understanding that it's all statistics. It's all statistics. I need to lose to win. That's like one thing I've realized. But also like I've become obsessed with failure too. And so it's not, I don't want like the obsessed with failure is not so much this because losing in trading is not failing, whatever. But it's more so like what people define failure as, right? People see like bad days as failure, and let's say even like a losing day in trading as failure, or blowing an account as failure. And like the biggest thing for me in life has become that obsession with failure and understanding that it's so literally just fucking perspective. Like, anytime one of these things go wrong, you can either see it as, damn, I just blew an account and now I'm fucking cooked, or I just revenge traded and this shit's cooked, or, okay, I'm not going to do this again because I know that this is what fucks me up. Okay, I just blew an account, but fuck it. Now I get to start a new one, and this time I'm really going to lock the fuck in. It's just a matter of, though, like, how many times you're going to say that and actually take your own advice. Because I think there's nothing harder in this world than being able to take your own advice. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, just a quick, like, answer in chat. How many of you guys have said, I'm going to take this next funded account seriously, and you got stuck in a cycle of maybe like 20 fucking accounts before you took it seriously? Just curious, how many of you guys have done that shit? Not me, I'm not gay. Took me 2 times. Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, everyone's different, but I'm sure a lot of you guys, you know, have said, okay, well, I'm gonna take this account seriously, and you ended up breaking a few rules, and you ended up frying the account and whatever. But it, like I said, it's just part of it, bro. It's just part of it. I was definitely one of those people that I fucking rinsed. Like, I remember there was one day where I rinsed like fucking 5 accounts. Bro, why am I getting spammed right now? Five-minute continuous, 30-second inverse. Hello?
Hi, can I speak to Patrick Lovely?
Yeah, is this important?
It's not urgent. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the advisor that works at JP Morgan, and I know you're Chime's client. I help clients on the business side with their investments. I can call back at a better time if you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's hard right now because I'm in Vietnam, so it's like 10:30 p.m. for me, and I'm taking some calls right now. Um,
Okay.
but you,
When do you come back to the States?
I'll be back in the States in it's like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Okay. I'll give you a call back like at the end of the month or
Yeah, that should be
in
perfect.
July.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you. This is JP Morgan representative. Who? The fuck are you talking about? Just call me back next month. The fuck? I don't really journal because I just record my sessions and shit. But I mean, when I started out, I would just kind of write out my compliments and stuff. I was never like a big journaling guy as far as my trades, but I would journal every fucking day what my goals were, why I'm doing what I'm doing, like my reasoning behind shit. I would create a lot of like vision boards of how I saw, you know, my life being and shit like that, and all that stuff definitely helped a ton. I was never like chronically journaling my trades. I was though. I mean, I had a journal tab in this Discord when we first started it, where I probably had like, you know, 200 trades journaled in there before I would do it a lot on my phone. Um, I, I don't know. I think it's the psych aspect is way more important to journal.
So before market open, I told everyone, and I'm a man of my word, I told everyone that if I hit TP today, which I did, I would rub barbecue sauce on my titties. And they keep annoying me. Please don't kick me out of the group chat. I'm just a man of my word. Ah, what the fuck? Alright, y'all. Oh, damn, that shit is cold as fuck, boy. This actually feels kind of nice. Alright, I cannot believe I'm doing this.
Can you explain a bit more on the 5-minute, 15-minute conditions beating an objective? I've rewatched all your conditions videos on YouTube and also in the 1%, but I'm still a bit confused on what exactly objectives are. Like, can objectives be a 5-minute, 15-minute reliable, intermediate, high, low, or is it only 1 hour? It can be all of those. It can be literally all of those. And can a condition still be used if it was tapped into, but objective wasn't met? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's when conditions are used, right? So, like, for example, if you grab let's say, okay, this 50-minute tap, right, at market open that I shorted from. So right now we're trading inside this 50-minute gap, and as long as this holds, this is my condition, I'm willing to short. As you can see, price ends up holding it. It even sweeps out that intermediate high in the 50-minute because we create that high, it takes it out again, and so my condition is still holding. But what is the closest? What is the next objective, right? Where is this 50-minute most likely going to deliver me to? Down to this 5-minute. So this is the objective, right? So the condition is the 50-minute, and this is the objective, this unfilled 5-minute gap here. So once this objective has been met, this can now become my condition. This could just be my full TP, right? It can be whatever. In this case, this is my objective and my TP. So once that gets hit, this condition, the 50-minute condition, has now played out, and I'm not using that as my condition anymore. Now the 5-minute, if we are going to use anything as a condition, it would be the new one, because the 50-minute met an objective, this being the objective, and also coincidentally this can be a new condition if you wanted to use it. So now let's say this 5-minute. In this case, well, this is kind of tricky because it doesn't end up holding on NQ, but ends up holding on ES. So let's look at it like this. So let's say, like, in this case, now we trade down to, yeah, and ES is a better example because we respect the 50-minute. The 50-minute sends us down to this 5-minute, and so now we're no longer paying attention to the 50-minute. We're paying attention to this. And so now this is our new condition. And so now we can tell ourselves, okay, well, if we inverse this condition, maybe we can short it, or we can expect price to go lower. Or if we hold it, where would be the next objective? Well, now the objective would be back up to this high, right? So it'd be this high, which is inside the 15-minute. And so this condition will obviously like remain valid until an objective has been met. And I don't know if we end up ripping up to there, but yeah, because we're pretty choppy. Whatever. But you get the point. And it's the whole. I think what you're trying to get at, though, it's not so much the conditions and objective thing, because the objective thing and conditions thing, what I'm trying to say is, it's more of a, that you're talking more on like the sponsored and protected, and the protected and unprotected, which, let me just see something real quick. I have a really good call on this. Was it this one? It's one of those, I think. Try watching this video. This one might elaborate on what you're curious about. And if not, then it's a different one that I think should be titled like sponsored something, or like protected highs and lows. Dude, that was such an awkward thing for me, bro. That's so dope, bro. Because you say this. I realize that I'm the same in the sense that I love journaling my psych every day, like keeping a normal paper journal. But when it comes to trades, I feel like I already do the rundown in my head of my confluences and why it didn't work. And I feel like journaling my trades per se would feel redundant. 100%. I'm the same way. And when you said that, I now realize that I want to trust my mind and the sheer effect of the screen time itself, and not to stick to strict rules like write all your trades down, etc. Because my accountability partner and Ronan insists on it. So do you say that I can trust myself to learn with the screen time and not have to journal every trade down? Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. I'm the same fucking way. Why are you not allowed back at the New York Stock Exchange? Bro, because they're a bunch of fucking boomers and they couldn't take a joke. I made a joke and posted on social media that I was copy trading one of the traders in there. Obviously, I'm not fucking copy trading, bro. You think I understand what's going on that screen? And they banned me. Yes, I'm literally serious. The video was going giga viral, bro. It had like 300,000 likes in a fucking 6 hours. Did they send a letter or something? I can't speak on the situation, bro. I'm just not even gonna speak on it. It's just so cringe. It's just so cringe. It's just so cringe. It's actually pathetic. Nah, the vid's gone. I was debating uploading it as a trial reel. Because everyone in the stock exchange follows me now. So they see if I posted it. I like reposted it like a week after that shit happened and they got so mad. Oh my god. Such fucking bots, bro. Such bots. Alright, well, I mean, that pretty much wraps up this call, guys. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. That was pretty fucking saucy, though. That was pretty freaking saucy. Did you guys understand what I was getting at, though, for the most part today? I think the whole structure and displacement thing was like a huge key factor. It was pretty nice that we got this. What was I gonna say? It's pretty nice that that second trade. I know, I'm sorry for those of you who took it and ended up getting stop rated and bullshit, whatever. But it's a really prime example of like what I was trying to avoid with this first trade and why I waited for more displacement here just to confirm that we'd break out of that little range. Yeah, I think we ended up going up to that hourly gap. Did we reach it? Yeah, we did. There might be a gnarly. Nah, I mean, this looks kind of sketchy. I was gonna say there might be like a crazy 11 a.m. reversal, but I just realized it's already almost 12. I just see 10:46 on my computer, so I thought it was like 10:40 a.m. for you guys, but no, this shit's all chopped. Yeah, I would call it if I were you guys. Just wait for tomorrow. Monday's always pretty slow unless you catch some shit right off rip. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned something today. Yeah, no, he hates me. He hates me. He hates me. All right, I'm gonna read a message. I'm gonna read a DM I got. And I'm not gonna say who it is, but you can just guess. Get it down now. I told you not to post anything without showing me first. I'm fucking pissed. I'm getting my asshole ripped open by the New York Stock Exchange. You think I was kidding? This is inexcusable. It had 1 million fucking views. I'm beyond pissed off. I don't care about your audience. It's the New York Stock Exchange. And my this is major fuck up. This affects me bringing guests to New York Stock Exchange. Told you not to post without me seeing it. Multiple times. You think I was fucking kidding? Bro. It gets... Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, the level... I can't tell if I'm the immature one, but I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So cringe. It sounds like a square. Bro, I need to pause this recording real quick.